This is the case study of copyright in the computer, regulations governing technology. Summary of the case. Mr. Keith Sample is a principal at St. Regis School. Mrs. Lynn is a library media specialist. She also serves as a computer laboratory teacher. Ms. Lynn and Mr. Sample prioritize suggested computer programs to buy. Teachers want extra copies of software to utilize in their classrooms. Mrs. Lynn orders several flash drives and copies the software. She then hands out the software to the teachers. Mrs. Brandon is concerned about the copyright violations and speaks with Mr. Sample. Mr. Sample talks to Mrs. Lynn about the violations. Mrs. Lynn has made unauthorized copies of software for the teachers at the school to use in their classrooms. The copying of the software occurred at St. Regis School. Mr. Sample, Mrs. Lynn, Mrs. Brandon, and Mrs. Williams are the staff that are involved in this situation. Mrs. Lynn is happy that she copied the software because she believes that she has saved money. Mrs. Brandon is upset because she knows that a copyright violation has occurred. Mrs. Brandon is happy that she received a copy of software. Mr. Sample has just become aware of the situation and is beginning to address the issue. The legal or ethical issue. The legal issue is of copyright infringement. Mrs. Lynn made copies of the software programs and distributed them to the third grade teachers. The designers of the educational software are being harmed by the copying done by Mrs. Lynn. They are not being compensated for the use of their software. There was a breach of the software licensing agreement. There was no harassment or discriminatory actions with this case. To synthesize what's going on, Mrs. Lynn made copies of software that was ordered by the teachers and distributed to the other teachers, violating copyright law. The people involved in this scenario is Mr. Keith Sample, the principal, Mrs. Lynn, the library media specialist, also the computer lab teacher, Mrs. Williams, the third grade teacher, Mrs. Brandon, the third grade teacher, and Miss Evans, the PTA president. St. Regis is located in a rural area 25 miles from a large city. St. Regis has 2 grocery stores, 1 drugstore, and a few small businesses. The school serves K through 8. When students enter high school, they are transported by bus for a long ride to a high school in the city. St. Regis serves K through 8. It has approximately 420 students that attend school, which requires 2 teachers per grade level. One special education teacher serves K through 4, and the other 5 through 8. Funding comes from the state and 2 major fundraisers. The school's annual budget provides basic materials for teachers, with a small extra amount dedicated to purchasing either computers or new software. The illegal copying of the software can have a significant impact on the school, district, and the community. The copyright violation can cost the district and community a great deal of money. The stakeholders include Mr. Sample and the faculty and staff, the district, and the parents and community of St. Regis. Not all of the stakeholders have been informed of the situation. At the present time, the principal and 2 teachers are the only ones to have discussed the situation. With the copyright violation, fines can range between $150,000 to $250,000. There are 4 things that everyone should know about copyright law. 1, facts cannot be protected by copyright, but the expression of those facts may be. Notice of copyright is not required. Material is automatically protected by copyright as soon as it is put into tangible form. 3, copyright lasts for the life of the author plus 70 years from materials created today. And schools have limited exemptions known as fair use to copyright requirements, but the exemptions are for materials used strictly for educational purposes. As a principal, I do not feel that any additional information needs to be obtained about the current situation. As a principal, I do know enough information to address the situation at the school. Some options and consequences. What could I do in this situation? 1, not making a decision or taking no action. The principal can choose to do nothing, but the copyright violation that has occurred about the copyright violation that has occurred in the school. He can allow Mrs. Lynn to continue copying and distributing the software that has been bought by the teachers. One of the consequences, a lawsuit that found the Houston Independent School District guilty of copyright law. It was reported that an English teacher warned the principal of possible copyright violation, but the principal failed to take that advice. It's obvious that the district officials failed to read the required readings of this course because they were misinformed of what constitutes copyright and fair use doctrine. The employees of the district cost the taxpayers of their district millions of dollars because they were careless and misinformed. Number two, what could I do in this situation? The most comprehensive way you might take in a situation is to have Mrs. Lynn stop copying the software and collecting all the copies that have been made. If the software has been uploaded to another computer, the program must be removed. The faculty, staff, and stakeholders should be given additional training to recognize what is copyright violation. 3 examples of how students can use others' work in a new and creative way are: they can reuse and remix a vast array of images, music, and videos that are specifically licensed for that purpose. You can create materials that are not copyrighted or whose copyright may have expired. And for some uses, especially in educational context, students can rely on the doctrine of fair use, which permits certain reuse of copyrighted works without permission. What are some other options? One would be stop making copies of the software. Stop making copies, but let the teachers use what has been copied. Or they can just share the software that has been bought with each other. Evaluating the options. If the school stops making copies, the violation still has occurred because of the outstanding discs that were made. The school district is at risk for copyright violations. If the teachers are allowed to continue to use the copy discs, the school is still at risk for a copyright violation. If the teachers share the software that has already been purchased, the school is at risk for a copyright violation. For this copyright violation, the principal acted in the correct way. The copying of the software had to be stopped immediately. The copies that were made need to be collected and destroyed. If the principal had not acted quickly, the school, district, and community could be liable for the copyright violation. The principal could provide an in-service and have copyrighted laws explained so that all stakeholders for the school are current on the laws, and that will lower the liability that the school may face if further violations occur. All stakeholders would be included. For this copyright violation, the most creative way to solve the problem is to stop making copies and destroy the ones that have already been made. Choosing the right path. I'm going to instruct Mrs. Lynn to stop making copies of the software that has been purchased. She will collect all copies that have been made and destroy them. If the programs are placed on the computer, they are to be deleted. The school will then receive a series of in-services learning about copyright laws and the consequences of violating them. Thinking about what may happen. If I do nothing about the violation, the school could be sued by the creators of the software programs. When correcting the problem, the teachers involved may be hurt emotionally by stopping the copying of the software. They may not be aware that this is a violation of the law and that serious consequences may occur. Identifying who needs to know. Mrs. Lynn should be told about the violation and that it must be stopped. She will be instructed to pick up the copies that have been made and have her destroy them. She will then delete any programs that have been installed on the computer. Mrs. Brandon will be told that the copies will be stopped and be destroyed. Determine if you can deal on your own with the persons involved. As a principal, I will deal with Mrs. Lynn alone about the issue of the copyright violation. Other stakeholders will be brought in later to learn more about the copyright laws and how violating them can cause a financial loss to the district and community. I would meet with Mrs. Lynn privately to discuss what is currently happening with the copyright violation. I would explain to her that this is a violation and this is how the school is going to correct the mistake. I would answer any questions she might have and inform her how the problem will be fixed. The first step in a comprehensive copyright management program is to have a school board approve copyright policy. The policy should establish an atmosphere of expected compliance. To back up that expectation, all personnel who might be involved in intentional or inadvertent infringement should receive training about their copyright rights and responsibilities. Thinking about what you might do next if the chosen plan of action doesn't work. If the plan to correct the violations does not take place, I would have another conversation with Mrs. Lim. If the situation again was not corrected, I would obtain the software programs and place them in my office. I would then ensure that the computers in the building had the correct software on them and delete all other programs. I would then gather all copies that were made and then destroy them. I would then discuss the matter with human resources and take corrective action. This assignment will help promote student and adult success. By learning about copyright, students will be able to create their own content without being afraid of someone taking their ideas. With this instruction, school districts can avoid what happened to the Houston Independent School District and cost the taxpayers millions of dollars. And here are the references for my presentation.